Welcome to Charts Today. My name's David Linton, and today's edition for Monday, the 25th of November, comes to you from London. And the dollar still looking bullish, jumping on Friday, looking much stronger on the short-term chart, and holding on that medium and long-term chart. So still bullish dollar, which means that the Eurodollar is looking weaker against that dollar on all three time frames, with downside potential there. So the euro is still coming off worse there. Against the yen, the dollar's rising as well. It's medium and short-term bullish, yet to be long-term bullish, but looking stronger there on those charts. So that dollar strength is definitely a theme this week. Sterling, dollar is looking stronger here as well. You can see sterling just falling back against that stronger dollar, remembering it's inverted the sterling rate, so this actually is sterling weakening, dollar strengthening. But we're relatively flat still versus the dollar over the last few weeks since the jump that we saw in October. Against the euro, sterling is relatively flat, sitting at 116.74, just holding around this 116 level. Of course, the UK election playing waiting really now for that result, and the market seems to be pricing in a Tory victory. Swiss franc we're seeing here looking stronger as well. If we look at Bitcoin, sitting at $6,670, so that's definitely weakening, and we're bearish on all three time frames there. So quite a hard call for Bitcoin. No clear downside targets on the long-term charts. The S&P 500 index was up on Friday, so it's continuing to look very strong. As with the NatGas, also pushing higher, bullish on all three time frames. The Dow also looking strong. And if we look at the Russell 2000, yet to make new highs, of course. The futures looking stronger this morning. The S&P future up 0.2%. The NASDAQ E-mini up 1/3% suggests that US markets will open higher today. Looking at the FTSE 100, we're sitting up 0.7% in the UK. So looking short-term bullish now, just about to go medium-term bullish and long-term bullish. Looks like UK stock markets might finally start to run and play a catch-up with their US counterparts. Midcaps in the UK looking strong, bullish on all three time frames there as well. And the DAX in Germany up 0.5% this morning, looking strong as well. And the CAC Current up 0.6%, so also looking quite strong. Japan was up 0.7% overnight, and the Hang Seng on the back of elections was up 1.5%, so that's also looking stronger, although the charts are still not looking as bullish as the US markets. And if we look at the Shanghai market, that was up 0.7%, also just has work to do on that short-term chart to get bullish. India was up 1.2%, looking very strong indeed, making new highs there, good upside targets. The Indian market starting to perform at last, and the Aussie market up 1/3%. So not looking as strong on that short-term chart here. We see just pulling away there, but on the weekly is strong, the daily is strong, and the 60-minute actually still has a little bit of work to do. Crude oil sitting at 63.54, so looking stronger this week, and WTI also looking quite strong on that short-term chart. So had a good end to the week last week as well. US NatGas sitting at $2.62, so just slowly building a little bit of a reversal here, but we're talking a long period here for this to turn around. But US NatGas looking a little bit better there this morning. Gold sitting at 14.57. The increased improved sentiment, stronger dollar, stronger stock markets is weighing a little bit heavily on gold, and we are just seeing for the first time in a while medium term gold just starting to fall away there. Silver sitting at lower at 16.87. So it's also just falling lower there, medium and short term. US 10-year yields sitting steady at 178. So we are still seeing this long-term recovery in bond yields. Short term, we're bullish as well. Looking at German bond prices, of course, inverted on the yield price, is just looking a little bit bearish there still on that short term, and of course we still have this unwinding to do off that head and shoulders pattern. Looking at individual stocks now, and this data that data was from Thomson Reuters Icon, this data coming to you from Yahoo Finance. So we start by looking at the Dow 30. The best performer on Friday was Pfizer Group. They're up 1.5%. The chart not looking that great there. Intel were the worst performer, down 1%, but this chart actually looking pretty good, and just nudging new highs there and breaking out on the relative as well. Looking at the NASDAQ 100, this data all coming to you from Yahoo Finance, of course. NetEase were the best performer, up 5%. Biogen were up 3.7%. That chart not quite as good. That NetEase chart actually looking quite interesting for a turnaround there, long-term recovery, and breaking out on the relative as well. We look at the downside. We had Tesla down 6%, on Friday, but actually the chart has had a real resurgence of late, so it's still looking pretty good. We've gone from 40% underperformance this year back to where we started, so we've really recovered back a lot of lost ground there. On the Aussie market, the best performer was Sigma Healthcare. They're up 9%. Not enough really to turn this chart around, but it is starting to look like a recovery situation. On the downside, we got New Farm Limited. They were down 17%. That chart's still looking pretty bad on the long-term chart. In India, overnight we had Bharati Infratel. They're up 7%, best performer, but not enough to change the performance here, underperforming the Dow Jones Index quite significantly. If we look at the, only had 4 stocks down. Yes Bank was the weakest one, down 3%. So still massively underperforming the market there. Taking a look at Europe now, we've got on the UK market, if we start with the FTSE 100, here you see the live pricing coming in from Yahoo Finance. We've got Antofagasta, Everaz are the best performer, up 3.8%, but not enough to really change the look of that chart. And on the downside, we've got Fresnillo down 2%. So, but not many stocks down this morning, as we see there on the FTSE 100. On the 250 now. We've got Cirrus Minerals, Into Properties there, 2.6%. Cirrus are up 4% this morning, so that's quite good. And if we look at the downside here, we've got the downside there. If we got Hochschild Mining, they're down 5.7%, and that chart not looking good at all, just falling away. Taking a look at Europe, the European stocks, the best performer here, just clicking on the top performers, Nokia. Interesting to see LVMH up 1.8% this morning off the back of their takeover announcement of Tiffany. That hasn't hurt them at all, but really seeing a sea of green here in the UK market, and we see the updates coming from Yahoo Finance. Only one stock down, and that's Unilever in Holland. So we are seeing a really strong start to the week with markets. That's it for today. Until tomorrow, happy charting. See you then.